Hello, everyone. Very good morning. Welcome to Invest Edge 2.0. This is one day which will leave a mark in your mind, which will leave a mark in your journey of wealth creation in stock market. I promise, if you spend time till the end, if you're there till the end, you are going to see a very different side of you. You are going to see a extremely knowledgeable and enriching yourself. Welcome to this event. My name is Vivek Bajaj. I am your friend, I would say, and my vision of empowering each one of you who is attending today is getting getting to right shape as we conduct these events. This time we have kept Invest Edge open to everyone. Last time we kept Invest Edge only for club members. We got a lot of feedback from people who wanted to get those knowledge and wisdoms from all the experts we are trying to onboard. So we thought this time we'll keep it open for everyone and let India overall learn from the amazing depth of knowledge and wisdom all these speakers going to share today. Friends, before I call the first speaker, the lineup is already shared with all of you. In fact, it has been shared in Stockage social platform as well as on Twitter. If you have not seen that, please do see there. Before I start, I need to talk about what we are doing and why we are doing. When I started my journey of financial market in 2006, I started as a trader. For a professionally qualified person with CA, CS, MBA, becoming a trader was the most stupid decision people say I would have taken. But then I've always been like this. I've tried to do something different with my life. So I thought, no, let me just go back to Calcutta and I start trading. Fortunately, again, I want to use the term fortunately, I was lucky. And 2006, 7, 8 was the golden period for being a trader. In fact, the period which we have witnessed in last 3 to 4 years, where everyone has literally made money. 2006, 7, 8 was that golden period where everyone made money. Literally everyone made money. But 2008 crisis was an eye opener for a lot of people who made money. Only few of them who made money in those 3 years were able to sustain and continue to hold on to that money. Fortunately, again, lucky I am, fortunately, I was able to make money when the market was falling as well because I was a trader. And trader loves to go on the long side or on the short side as the case may be. That initial 4 5 years of my engagement with market built a career for me, built a career for my trading desk, and I'm very proud to say that we have over 300 traders now in Calcutta trading on behalf of us. 2013 was a life-changing journey for me because of three reasons. One, CTT was introduced in India, commodity transaction tax. Raghuram Rajan was introduced in currency market in India. So he literally stopped the volatility in currency market, which is the case right now as well. And third, I gave birth to twin boys. And that led to a major introspection inside me that do I need to continue my life the way I was doing? Do I need to be remain a full-time trader from morning 9 o'clock to midnight 12? The answer was no, I cannot continue the way it is. I need to change. And that's the most important learning which you guys should have in your mind at this moment is change is inevitable. Market will push us to change. Our situations, our circumstances will change us. We should embrace change because that is the only constant. When in 2014 I was trying to rediscover myself, I took two paths. One, to empower retail investors because I was highly impressed by Michael Bloomberg and his philosophy of giving back to society and empowering an ecosystem. So we started learning initiatives, we started Stockage, we started Stockage Club, and all other things. Apart from that, because my focus was to empower retail, I became a passive investor and I call it momentum investor, which I am going to talk about in the last section of today's. I think my session is around 4 o'clock, where I will talk about why every one of us should become a bit of momentum investor. Right, this journey has been quite rewarding. I am blessed to have support from some incredible people in my life, especially all of you who have joined. So far we have around 350 people. I'm looking forward to have at least 2000 people joining today's event. I'm thankful to all of you for showering so much of love and believing in what we are doing in whatever way we are doing. In this journey, I was supported by two of my lovely mentors, in fact, three, I would say. First mentor is obviously my family, my father, my brothers, who have been always guiding me and allowing me to do what I want to do. Second, Mr. Ramesh Damani, who has been a very strong pillar of emotional support for me, because he exactly knew what I'm doing and he has been constantly supporting me in my endeavor. And my third mentor is Ajay Sharma, who will be there with you at 11:15 sharp. After a few minutes, Ajay Bhaiya has been very, very supportive. He is one person I've used his shoulder to cry, because as an entrepreneur, you live a very lonely life, and you need a person like Ajay Sharma to talk about a lot of things which you can't talk to even your wife. So this journey has been amazing. I've been supported by my lovely team members, like Suchi, like Swati. They have been with us in thick and thin times, like my partners, Vineet, Vinay, and everyone, every single member of this family, Stockage family, with around 210 people now and their family contributing to well-being of millions and millions of users across the country. This is not a joke. We are here for serious work and will continue to do the serious work. But to continue to do the serious work, you need a lot of support. Support you can give us in different ways. If you give us emotional support, if you motivate us, that's the biggest thing you do for us. Because ultimately, there is enough reasons for us to get demotivated. Market itself give us enough reasons every day to feel demotivated. But if our supporters, our family keeps on supporting us in tough and thin times, then obviously we keep on rising, we keep on walking the way we should walk. So keep us supporting us emotionally. Second, I always say this, that as a professional market participant who is serious about making money, who is not here to play video games, who is someone who believes in wealth creating through stock market participation, you need to get access to platforms. I subscribed to Bloomberg in 2008 when I made one big money in my natural gas trade. I subscribed to Bloomberg, and since then I've been a Bloomberg user. I committed 25 lakh a year cost of Bloomberg in my life. Why? Because I knew if I have to become professional, if I have to commit myself to this career, I need a professional software like Bloomberg. Those were the days when you needed this kind of a tool. Gone those days. In last 5 to 6 years, thanks to people like me, thanks or us or Screener, or for that matter Trendline, and all of us, we have done one thing for sure. We have democratized the access of data, access of analytics for everyone. Now the cost of subscribing to neutral analytics is negligible. Stockage Premium is available at only 2,000 rupees a year. Stockage Pro is available at only 7 to 8,000 rupees a year after discount, after GST. Stockage Club, which is going to be India's largest community of serious market professionals. We already have 35,000 people active in Stockage Social, and all paid members. Not a single person is free there. Everyone, because everyone should pay. If you pay, you are serious and you try to realize value of the money you are paying. So all I say is that if you support us, if you really believe in what we are doing, you will support us in all forms. And whatever money you give, in whatever form, you can take 500 rupees webinar, you can take a 1 lakh rupee mentorship program, whatever you want to take, depending upon the objective you are here for, you actually contribute to well-being of this organization. And if this organization stays, you constantly get a neutral platform who has no bias against you. Brokers want you to trade more. We don't want you. TV personalities want you to see them more. We don't want you. We believe in the theory of less is more. And if you don't support platform like ours, you are actually discouraging a neutral platform which is only meant for you. All I say is an appeal. If you want to consider this, it's a suggestion from someone who has been there in the market for many years. Get into the habit of paying for quality. I'm not asking you pay to Stockage. All I'm asking you, if you don't subscribe to quality softwares, if you keep on resorting to free platforms, free websites, and free activities across the board, you will never be able to succeed, because market has never, ever, and never will reward a free rider. शेयर बाजार में फ्री राइडर का कोई स्पेस नहीं है. शेयर बाजार is a personality and stock market knows exactly who deserves to make money. So be a deserving market participant. Don't be just a market participant. All right, so this is my humble suggestion to begin this session. Now I would like to invite my mentor Ajay Bhaiya to come and talk with me for a couple of minutes before we start his session at 11:15. Ajay Bhaiya, may I request you to come over?
Hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We
Sorry,
can
Ajay
hear you.
Bhaiya, my internet got flipped because of some power connection disconnection here. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. I can see you fine.
Lovely. Thank you, Ajay Bhaiya. You know, as I always say, Pranam Bhaiya. We have 1,000 people joining. Thank you, Bhaiya. First of all, I have to thank you for whatever you have done for us. That much needed emotional support. Every point has been a great support for us to continue doing what we are doing, even though we have not been able to, generate wealth the way probably other people have done. But I think the kind of love, trust, and adulation we get from us is unparalleled. So it's all the ultimate support from you guys have helped us to reach wherever we are. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Vivek, I'm really proud of everything you've achieved. And having known you for many years and your team, there's a lot you've contributed to the Indian stock market, investors, traders, and no effort goes unseen. People will always appreciate. And you should never have a feeling that you've not created enough wealth. What you've not created is this bullshit valuation that's going around in markets. You've created a serious business which generates value to customers. It makes revenues and it makes profits. The goal of an entrepreneur first is to, service their customers well, make money. Valuation, the BS that's going around everywhere in startups, you and I know, and most of them are falling aside, and you'll definitely come out on tops over the years. And I'm really proud of you. So well done.
Thank you, Ajay Bhaiya, for these words all again and again. Thank you. And the second reason why I want to thank you is to continue doing that amazing work in your YouTube channel. I think that is one thing which I'm so proud of you, that you have been continuing that initiative which you took, and last 2-3 interviews were like next level, where I mean it's so difficult to get access to people like, I mean, your buddies, and you were so candidly communicating with them. You know, things like Tum and Aap. These are the things which we want to be part of. So, thank you.
No, but see, Vivek, for my YouTube channel, you have been my guru. तुम्हारे कारण ये हो पाया है, तुम्हारी वो निष्ठा थी, तुम्हारी फोर्स थी कि अजय भैया you should do it, and I'm thankful to you. And I'm trying my best to call my friends up on the channel, to be honest. Because if you've known someone for 24-25 years, जिसको आप तू करके बात करते हो, उसको तुम बोलना भी मुश्किल हो जाता है. So I'm keeping that feedback. I will try. But yeah, I just want to see, if we can get access to interesting people, give everyone in India access to people's thoughts and wisdom and what we've learned, and especially our mistakes. And that's why today I'm here.
Lovely. But my humble suggestion is that you continue to use Tum and don't give too much importance to the guys who don't understand the value of Tum. Tum is much powerful.
It's closeness. Yes. As soon as you get to an app, it becomes a distance. Absolutely. And if you see most of the conversations I have, it's just two friends talking, two known people talking, and then people open up.
Yeah.
जहाँ आप distance ले आते हो ना, वो खुल के बात नहीं होती है, लोग खुलते नहीं हैं. People go in a shell. And see, I'm not a professional interviewer. I'm just talking to my friends, right? I don't do it day in, day out. When I get time, I try doing it. So yeah. But I'll keep that in mind. We'll see.
Lovely. So thank you for this brief conversation. We'll take it offline later someday. So the stage is all set. We obviously are always excited to hear from you, your pearls of wisdom. Every time we hear you, there are some things which you repeat, but every time you repeat, it always adds a new dimension in our mind. So please give us those lovely, share of your wisdom so that we grow in this beautiful stock market, which offers so much to us right now. On to you, Via.
Great. I will share my screen. I have a few slides for all of you. I have a lot of slides, so I'll be fast and I'll do the slides for about 45 minutes. There are a lot of thoughts I want to touch upon today. And then maybe we'll keep about 15 to 20 minutes for question and answers. So let's start. Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
sir.
we can see.
Okay. Yeah. So Vivek, can you see the picture? I just want to be sure, then
Yes.
I'll start.
I
Perfect.
was fat.
So this is Team StockEdge. This was about 8 or 10 years ago. You can see we have a lot of hair on our heads. And I have been proud of these three boys since then, the 3 V's as I call them, Vivek, Vinay, and Vineet. And what they've accomplished in the last decade is phenomenal. Reaching out to millions of people through the app, through the YouTube platform, through Vivek's channel and eLearn Markets. And it makes me really proud to be associated with them. I will quickly go through what I'm planning to cover today. My philosophy is basically G2G. I'll explain what it means. It's primarily buy good to great and sell great to good. This is a bit about me. Went to IIT BHU, and I'm Ahmedabad, investor, 2 amazing daughters, living in Singapore 18 years, worked at a few large corporates, Morgan Stanley, CLSA, and just a couple of weeks back, I've joined Mr. Rashesh Shah, who's actually I am alum from Ahmedabad as president of Edelweiss to build some of their businesses. It's very recent. As I said, Vivek has been my guru, where I've started this channel on his behest. And quite a few topics are covered in the channel. I'll not talk about the channel. I just want to tell you the 3 of the videos that if you are interested, you should watch. The yellow star is with Neelkant Mishra, very dear friend of mine. The red star is what I just uploaded yesterday with Mahesh, who's another very dear friend. And the blue star is one of my favorites. It's not about stock markets. It's just about living your life. And a lot of books that I've read, that's what I call chemical literature. You'll actually find it very interesting. What I'll cover here is the capex cycle of India, because manufacturing is taking off. A lot of stocks are taking off. I'll definitely talk about this. I'm sure everyone's worried about valuations, bubbles, and so on. In my recent videos, I've been saying bulls and bubbles. We'll talk about that. There's a bit of public sector stocks, what's happening there, and then why we do need stock market bubbles. In this bubble, as I keep joking that whether it's a donkey or a mule or a horse, gada, ghoda, khachar, everything's trading at very high valuations. Before I start, I just want to leave you guys. If you've seen this before, you don't have to answer. What color of this dress do you see? And there's a reason I'm asking this. I will answer at the end. Just send in your comments. What do you see? Start. I'll quickly run through the thesis, how I think about stocks. Let's assume there's a company which is 5 rupees of EPS. The EPS goes from 5 to 10, 15, 20, 25. It accelerates. This takes time. And there's another dimension to stock market, which is what multiple we give to the earnings of every company. When a stock accelerates from 5 rupee EPS, it gets a 15 multiple. Let's say the share price is 75, which is the earnings into a multiple. What tends to happen is as the stock price, as the earnings increase, the multiple also changes, and that is what drives stock prices. When good earnings become what I call great earnings, stock going from 5 rupee EPS to 25 rupee EPS in a growth market, the multiple also re-rates. Multiple also goes from good to great. And this is the primary driver of stock price. Good earning becoming great earning, good multiple becoming great multiple. When this happens, a 15 multiple is applied to 5. A 10 rupee EPS gets a 25 multiple, stock goes to 250. As it re-rates further, a 20 multiple gets 20 rupee EPS gets 50, stock is 1,000 and so on. So this is the phase where I call great earnings have great multiple. So a great business becomes also expensive. And this is typical of any business cycle, any stock market, and any individual company. What then tends to happen is the following. Your 70 multiple remains and great becomes. Now this big company cannot grow that fast anymore. The EPS goes from 27 to 28, 29, and what I call great earnings become good earnings. This is for various reasons. It could be size, it could be competition, what's happening with paints in India, it could be disruption, when you have EVs disrupting old cars, it could be management defocused, when professionals take in, the family leaves the business and so on, for various reasons we've seen. And when great earnings become good earnings, the multiple also starts to contract. And a great multiple also becomes good multiple. And when that happens, then stock price also starts to derate. So if I put it in a single schematic, good earnings become great earnings become good earnings. This is how the stock price behaves. And good to great, great to good. That's what I call the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh phase of companies, us, stock markets, business cycles. And yesterday only we've celebrated Shivratri, which is Mahesh, which is in one sense destruction, in one sense reincarnation, creating something new. So first principle that I have in G2G is buy good to great, invest in phases when a company is in the Vishnu phase, which is the good to great phase, and try to avoid the great to good phase. That is why I always say G, there are two G's, good to great and great to good. That's my basic philosophy of investing. I believe everything is cyclical. Everything goes through a beginning, a growth, and an end. The yellow is what I call startups, where there's uncertainty, there's downside, upside. It's kind of a lottery. So I do invest in startups, but that's tiny for my portfolio. In my investing career, I always look at Vishnu phases, and I firmly believe India as a country is in Vishnu phase today. The best proxy for this is per capita. We are going through that phase of GDP expansion. And in the interview with Neelkanth Mishra, who's a very dear friend, we actually talked about how do we get from low-income country to a middle-income country where China is, and can we grow beyond that and become a high-income country? Because he often argues that we need to become rich before we get old. We are still a young country, but that's some time away. These are my basic tenets of investing. I'll just give you stories because I love talking in stories. I prefer buying good businesses only. It's like buying a Mercedes, not cheap cars. I'm very cognizant of the price I buy a business at. I would want to buy a Mercedes, preferably at an ambassador price, but you don't get it at that price. But I will never pay up. I will not buy at a Ferrari price. And when it trades at a Rolls-Royce price, I will sell. One principle I firmly believe in, which is avoid large loss, and I'll tell you what it means, of mind and money, both. You cannot win often, you have to win every time. And one of my favorite poems is If by Rudyard Kipling. I've just mentioned 5 lines here. The fourth is one of my favorites from when I went to Wimbledon. It was right there. If you can, deal with triumph and disaster and treat both imposters just the same. A lot of times market, it's not easy, especially bull markets, where you feel anything you buy, you're underperforming your friends, the market, you're not making enough money. It's not easy to deal with that. You have to wait and not be tired of waiting. So I firmly believe in those 5 lines. Now coming to frameworks, I often think only in frameworks and stories. It helps me simplify things because there are 5,000 stocks to deal with just in India, and I invest globally. So there's a US technology, there's Southeast Asia. So there's very few things I can do as a human being. And that is why for me, everything is filtering कि क्या मुझे नहीं करना है. That is what drives my investing after making mistakes for 25 years. My framework here is 2 by 2. X-axis is good business, great business, and the Y-axis is good valuation, great valuation. And my job is not just picking one company or one business. My job is to manage portfolio, 25 to say 50 stocks for my clients and my own money, which something is basically for my kids and my family. I am just a trustee of their wealth, right? So I have to take care of that money and my clients' money. So my job is not individual stocks only. My job is to construct a portfolio. And I look at my portfolio like this. And for me, when Benjamin Graham talks of margin of safety, कि यार इसके नीचे नहीं लेना है, इसके ऊपर ये नहीं करना है. How do you protect the large loss of capital? For my framework, my margin of safety is that blue line. As long as my portfolio is below the line, my portfolio is doing fine. As soon as it reaches the great quadrant, as I said, where stock price का re-rating पूरी हो गई है, earnings growth पूरा आ गया है, everything is discounted. When stock starts trading at 70, 80, 90, 100 times earnings, not much is left, is what I believe. You can still make money from there, but if it doesn't fit my framework, I will sell. And that discipline is something at least I honor and I keep in mind whenever I'm constructing my portfolio. And I look at my portfolio just like this. How is this bubble chart moving up and down over the quarters? So this is how I think of frameworks. Anything in the top right quadrant, great is a sell, good is a buy. I will not buy cheap, bad companies. I will wait. I firmly believe that, Oscar Wilde said this many years ago, that every sinner has a future and every saint has a past. So, even terrible companies do become good companies. We've seen that, but I will wait for that trigger to happen, deleveraging to happen. I will buy them late, but I will never be the earliest in waiting for, as I say, something like a doormat to become a Persian carpet. It takes time and rarely that happens. If I look at India overall today, I think financials are still reasonably priced in India. Consumer stocks, most of the consumer stocks are in the great zone. Micro caps, small caps, which have rallied a lot recently. A lot of them are good businesses, but I seriously think they've reached great valuations. We are paying a lot for things that have not yet happened. A lot of stories are being discounted way ahead of time. So I would tread with caution there. I take a lot of learnings from Gita, Mahabharata, a lot of our literature. And for me, if you look at Pandav, the 5 brothers, Yudhishthir comes right at the top. Sabse pehle Yudhishthir aate hain. Yudhishthir for his integrity. If there is any lack of integrity, I am just not interested. मुझे चोरों के साथ, डकैतों के साथ काम ही नहीं करना है. वो जब फिल्टर मेरा पहला खत्म हो जाता है, once things fall off that filter, then I look at Bheem, which is consolidated industry, characteristics, high return on capital, trustworthy, balance sheet strong, and so on. Then I look at Arjun, which is management focus. Typically, I don't understand conglomerates, companies which are 4 or 5 business, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि एक बिजनेस बनाने में ही बहुत मुश्किल होता है. 10 businesses नहीं बना पाता है कोई भी management. So I want companies which are focused on one business 24/7, 365 days a day. Nakul is beauty. I love investing in high return on asset, financials, brand companies which are pricing power, high return on capital. Sahdev is basically tolerance. Do you treat your customers well? Do you treat your employees well? Are you open to ideas and constructive criticism? And this filter, I can tell you, has helped me a lot in life, even dealing with people. If you just apply the first principle, then you'll understand how important is it. And I'll give you a recent thing that happened 10 days back when I was in Bombay. And I met a very senior management. And he was telling me that in the past, they'd given loans to some groups in India. He gave a case study where unhone 2,000 crore, they took a collateral of 2,000 crores. And he gave only a 300 crore loan, almost 6-7 times collateral. In 7 years, he's not seen a dime of the money. or he has taken the collateral to court because of integrity of the issue of the promoter. And then he said, after that case study, so they have two meetings now. They have two committees. First committee is what he calls the IC, Investment Committee, which decides whether it's a good deal or not. But there's a second committee which they call Name Clearance, NC Committee. That committee will decide कि इस बंदे के साथ deal करनी है नहीं करनी है, whether we'll deal with that person or not. So their filter is basically what I call a Yudhishthir filter. And when I talk to this manager about my philosophy and linking Mahabharata to his filter, he was actually amused and he said he'll actually think about it and representing it probably this way also. So name clearance now has become more important than a phenomenal deal. I've talked about this in the past many times. Anything we do in life, four things: large loss, small profit, large profit. As long as you avoid the small loss in a single name, in a single sector, in your portfolio, which is don't lose so much money that you lose your mind and you can't come back tomorrow. Never take such high risky bets. This portfolio concentration I've talked about in the past. I will not talk about it again. This is about curiosity. मैं कई बार बोलता हूँ वो क्या जाने भारत को जो सिर्फ जाने भारत को. Keep your curiosity going. Learn new things, learn new sectors, and read. Just for example, this is an amazing book. I have probably reached just the 70th page. This is about General Electric, and it's exactly that Brahma Vishnu Mahesh curve. This talks about the rise and fall of GE, 120 years history of what they were doing right, what they did wrong, and why great companies become good companies. And that is why if you see that ambassador there, I always keep it to show that monopolies, like ambassador was a monopoly. It's not even seen on Indian roads today. This is more of philosophy. We need to do all the three: make money, save money, and invest money. 5 themes I typically invest in: brands. See change. Change is very, very critical for me. For example, when industry structure changes, which is what's happening in paints, when you had a 4-player oligopolistic industry and one large player comes with a lot of capital putting up factories, I definitely look at that. For small cap, micro caps, wherever there's a private equity who comes in, there's a management chain, they sit on the board, I look at that. Electrification is a theme I'll talk in detail, and financials we all know. I want to talk a bit about India's capex cycle, and this is where I take a lot of learnings from this picture. This is a NASA picture of India taken in 2012. It's night sky, and they took high-res pictures in 2016. Nowadays they post a picture every day, but it's not as high-res as this. And this gave me some ideas around India's capex cycle. This is actually the latest from December last year. So you can clearly see the electrification and the road infrastructure. And what is interesting is, historically, India had 4 industrial clusters. 3 were the big ones, which is the NCR, the Gujarat Maharashtra block, and the Chennai Bangalore Hyderabad block. East Calcutta, where I belong to, used to be historically, but not much now. But still a lot of foundries and iron steel companies are still there. But if you look at the labor force of India, a lot of that is in the middle, which is what I call the Bimaru state. We've heard in the past: UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. And what was happening is jobs are in the 4 coastal industrial belts and the one in Delhi. You saw a lot of migration of labor. What is changing in India? This is the Bimaru belt. Look at the electrification in the last decade. Once this starts happening, and you have to understand, electrification karne ke liye you need a road. Without road, you cannot take the equipment, you can't take the transformer to the villages. So road precedes electrification. And when electrification happens, people can put up factories. And once you put up factories in, say Pepsi wants to put a factory in Bombay or UP, or an AC manufacturer. Bombay land is expensive, labor is expensive. In UP, labor is cheaper, land is cheaper, and if the labor doesn't have to migrate, they are willing to work at a lower cost because it's close to their house. So just electrification and road infrastructure, that's all the government needs to do, creates entrepreneurship. And there's a direct correlation to the number of roads, million kilometers, and GDP. There are enough World Bank studies done on this. And that's why I actually think the capital multiplier of this. In fact, yesterday, the video I posted with Mahesh, my dear friend of Jefferies, we spent 20 minutes talking just about this chart. The capital formation, GFCF, is the gross capital formation of India. If you see 2000 to 2009, it was accelerating. Then 2009 to 2018-19, we had a very terrible capital cycle of India. Real estate was suffering, infrastructure was suffering, road, electricity, and it's taken off again. I think this time the cycle will be longer. It's a long discussion, but my brief analysis is the cycle will be longer. We're in very, very early cycle, and that's why this becomes very interesting. So road, power, renewables, infrastructure, telecom, electricity, EV cars, and so on. So E as a theme, when I said electrification, that's the manufacturing theme of India. We are getting it slowly right. And I'm very constructive on the capital cycle of India over the next 7 to 8 years. Let's deal a bit about valuations. This is another chart that my friend Mahesh, when he used to cover Hindustan Lever 20 years ago, Levers traded at 30 times earnings and everything else was a discount. All these stocks now trade at 70, 75. Some of these valuations are a little bubbly. I'll concede that. But I think given so much flows that are happening in India, which is the local flows, which is a discussion I had with Neelkant for a very long time. It is a mix of insurance. It is a mix of EPFO and retail, which is 16,000 crores just in SIP. So $30-35 billion of flows are just expected locally. This will only increase. Because of the flows, I think some of these premium valuations that we talk about will sustain. I don't have a crystal ball of what is the right valuation, but I don't think we go back to 8, 10, 12 times, at least for the next 10 years. Some of these valuations will sustain. And one interesting chart that Mahesh put up very recently, and we had a very nice discussion about this yesterday, is beta of Indian markets. Higher the beta, more volatile the market. When the market is more volatile, you give less earnings. Any company जिसका valuation कम होता है, आप देखिएगा उसकी earning बहुत cyclical होती है. कभी ऊपर जाती है, कभी नीचे आती है, तो predict नहीं कर पाते हैं. When you can't predict something, you give a lower multiple. What has changed in India over the last 15 years is India का beta 1 से 0.6 हो गया. And I told Mahesh also when we were discussing about this कि यार ये तुमने कमाल की analysis करी है. So India has become less volatile. As soon as the market becomes less volatile, valuations go up. चाहे वो company हो, चाहे एक economy हो, because then you trust the earnings, there's stability, it's more predictable. And two reasons this has happened. One is obviously maturity of the market, companies, larger number of companies. But second reason is also domestic flows. We are not dependent on FIS flows anymore. And in fact, yesterday only Mahesh gave me a very interesting case study when he said कि अजय 2013-14 में जो paper tantrums हुए थे अमेरिका में, you know what had happened at that time? I said, Mahesh, what had happened? And he said FIIs had sold only $2 billion over 4 months. For $2 billion, the market fell 18%. Fast forward 10 years. December 21 to December 22, FII sold $37 billion and the market was flat. Why? Because domestic retail investors, mutual funds, insurance companies, even corporates, they bought $35 billion of the $37 billion. So a lot of volatility in the Indian market has also come off, primarily because of flows, the size, and so on. Now it's a very interesting topic. So I'll be honest, if you had told me 5 years ago, Ajay, will you ever hold a PSU in your basket? I would have said no, not happening. Because I have looked at public sector, government-owned companies in China, India, and I distinctly remember in one of the videos with Vivek Bajaj, my dear friend, he'd asked me about PSUs, and I said Vivek, historically, PSUs underperform. If earnings turn, then maybe, but as things stand 5 years back, I'm not interested. What has changed in PSUs is, if you can clearly see, 2012 से 2018, 2012 से 2018 तक PSU के मल्टीपल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किए थे. क्यों? क्योंकि रिटर्न ऑन इक्विटी गिरा था, अर्निंग्स गिरी थी. So जब अर्निंग्स गिरती हैं, वैल्यूएशन भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करता है, एंड दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड विद पब्लिक सेक्टर अंडरटेकिंग्स. केपेक्स साइकिल नहीं था, गवर्नमेंट का फोकस नहीं था, देयर वाज करप्शन. We know all the things that was happening. And the other thing the government was doing was they were using PSU as an ATM. Let's assume I have bought 10 kg of gold and I'm going through a tough time. How will I run my house? मैं तो थोड़ा सोना बेचूंगा, आज 500 ग्राम बेचा, आज 10 ग्राम बेचा, घर कैसे चलाऊंगा? तो हमारे नवरत्न जो थे ना, PSU, जो हमारे ज्वेल्स थे, सरकार क्या कर रही थी कि फिस्कल डेफिसिट कम करने के लिए हम हमारे PSU के शेयर्स बेचते थे. तो अगर मैं शेयर मार्केट का इन्वेस्टर हूं, व्हाट विल आई थिंक कि यार वापस माल आने वाला है, मैं BHEL क्यों खरीदूं? वापस आने वाला है, मैं NTPC क्यों खरीदूं? Two things that have changed. First is the ROE expansion of PSU that you can see. Return on equity is expanding. It used to be double digits, 14, 15. It came down to as low as 4.7. It's expanding. That's the first change. There's a focus on earnings. The second change in PSUs is government is not using the PSUs as an ATM. In fact, you'll be surprised. First time in 50 years, the CEO of PSU, one of his KRA is the share price. You have to deliver profits. You have to work on your share price and corporate governance. That is a big structural change. This is one of the favorite charts that Mahesh and I talked about yesterday. There's a chart from his report. PSU is always traded at a discount, no doubt. But the discount used to be max 30%. In this cycle, that discount went down to went as low as 65, 70%. Last 18-20 months, there has been a re-rating. But Mahesh कहते हैं कि अभी भी ये discount narrow है और थोड़ा narrow और भी हो सकता है. So there is cyclically some more potential left. And if the companies keep delivering, they keep doing well, I think what has happened in PSUs is from deep value, they become reasonable value. Some have become expensive, but they are not ultra expensive yet. Forgive me, मैं individual shares की बात नहीं करूंगा. I will just talk top down, but broadly मुझे ये लगता है. और finally, अगर आप PSU banks और private banks की comparison करें, if you compare the two, this is where it gets really interesting. 10-15 years ago, there was a ROE gap between private banks and PSU banks. And that when the credit cycle went through a tough time because of power sector loans, because of various reasons we all know, then the PSUs actually went into losses. You can see at the bottom of the bank cycle, FY18, the return on equity, because they were making losses, was minus 15%, and the gap was minus 15 से 10-25% का gap. That gap has also started narrowing, and that is why you're seeing a lot of re-rating of the PSU banks also. I will just stop here because I want to take some questions. It's been, I think, half an hour already. Yeah. So I will take some questions after this because I want to make it more interactive. Given the re-rating of India, I think there has been a lot of valuation expansion. And I firmly think there are pockets of the market जहां बदमाश कंपनियां मार्केट में आ गई हैं, कुछ चोरों ने पैसे रेज कर लिए हैं, मैं इंडिविजुअल नाम नहीं लूंगा. सो आई विल बी कॉशियस. लेकिन एक और इसका पहलू है कि बबल होना जरूरी है. जब बबल्स आते हैं ना, तभी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आते हैं, तभी पैसे बनते हैं, and then only interesting things happen. And I will give you a true example of a bubble that happened in India in the power sector. I was sitting with the power minister many years ago. उस समय एक दिल्ली कंपनी थी, बहुत बड़े इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रुप हैं, उन्होंने they put up a 1 gigawatt power plant for merchant power. और उस समय पावर 2.5 या 3 रुपए यूनिट में बिकता था, about 2.5-3 rupees a unit, and the cost was about say 2 rupees. You were selling at 2.5. This company was allowed to sell power, not allowed, basically there was demand, at 7 rupees a unit. So the 5,000 crores they invested in a plant which should have taken 30 years to recoup, they got the money back in 1 year. So as this power minister, कि सर आप ये क्या कर रहे हैं, एक कंपनी इतना पैसा कैसे बना सकती है, especially utility sector में? And you'll be amazed at the far-sightedness and the smartness of this minister. By the way, he was responsible for the telecom reforms, he was responsible for railway reforms and power reforms, Suresh Prabhu ji. तो सुरेश जी ने कहा कि आप imagine करो, if I let one guy make a 5,000 crores in a year, don't you think every industrialist of India will want to put up a power plant? Like flies, won't we all with, ईर्ष्या और लालच तो हम सबको होता है शेयर बाजार में भी, कि कोई मुझसे ज्यादा पैसा बना रहा है, मैं भी बना लूं, मैं भी पहुंच जाता हूं कबूतरों की तरह. तो उन्होंने कहा कि यार, if I let one guy make money, everyone will come in, a bubble will be formed, लेकिन हमारे पावर प्लांट्स लग जाएंगे, और वही हुआ. So high valuations create animal spirits. Animal spirits drive risky bets, and when we take risk, we go in with typically greed and envy. I think it's less fear, it's actually envy and greed. We put in the money, every type of companies gets investments, but yeah, telecom cables lag jate hain, internet lag jata hai, power plants lag jate hain. So that is happening in India. There's one video I made on bubbles. It's more structure of bubbles, not so much about what's happening in India only. It's worth a watch. I will stop here, and I actually want to take questions.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. Fabulous as always, I think.
Thank you.
And it was definitely, each time I hear you, sir, there is a new insight which I get, and I have a takeaway for next 6 months for sure. So,
But Suji, एक ही सवाल है. Is English okay, or you want me in Hindi? I don't know the audience, so I went with English today.
Sir, English kar sakte when we talk about questions. I think English overall is good, but when we are answering questions, we can have it English.
Perfect.
So a few questions, sir, we already have during the session. Our users have posted.
Let me just note.
So, yes, sir. So the first question which came in, sir, was around the portfolio, that when we are adding stocks to our portfolio, primarily these companies should be in which stage, whether it should be the Brahma, Vishnu, or of course, not Mahesh, but yeah.
See, so as I said, I prefer investing in, so okay, let's break up the portfolio into two buckets, public and private. Okay? For retail investors, if you're very early in your investing cycle, I will prefer not to do private investing. Please startups na kare, private investing na kare, sirf public markets kare. Because startup investing, private market investing risky hoti hai. और उसमें ऑल और नन होता है कि मैंने यार अगर से 5 लाख रुपए डाले वो जीरो जा सकता है या 5 करोड़ बन सकता है. वो टिपिकली लॉटरी होता है. और वो कई बार मैं उस तरह की इन्वेस्टिंग इसलिए भी करता हूं कि कुछ सेक्टर्स में अगर आप रिस्की इन्वेस्टिंग नहीं करेंगे ना, वो सेक्टर बड़े ही नहीं होंगे इंडिया में. तो वो अलग फिलॉसफी है इन्वेस्टिंग की. तो कमिंग बैक टू पब्लिक मार्केट पोर्टफोलियो. पब्लिक मार्केट पोर्टफोलियो में यू शुड इन्वेस्ट इफ यू आर यंग, लाइक आई बिलीव आई एम स्टिल यंग in a young country like India. Mature businesses में आप invest ना करें. Even if you get a very mature business, कि यार अब 100 कस्टमर है बाजार में और 100 कस्टमर ने वो प्रोडक्ट खरीद लिया है और वो प्रोडक्ट 20 साल चलता है. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. एक प्रोडक्ट लेते हैं, 20 साल तक चलता है, 100 कस्टमर है, 100 के पास है. अब नई डिमांड 20 साल बाद आएगी, मैच्योर हो गया है. अब ये बिजनेस 2p पे भी मुझे मिलेगा ना, तो नहीं लूंगा. So just because एक mature business बहुत सस्ता है, मैं नहीं लूंगा. Startups में मैं typically, as I said, privates में नहीं करूंगा. Public markets में you should invest preferably in good companies at a decent growth pace at a reasonable valuation. अगर आपको portfolio वैसे बनाना है.
Okay. I think that serves the answer, sir, here. The second question which we have is that when we are, how do we classify valuations? Specific parameters apart from the EPS and PE to classify various good to great companies.
यार अगर इसका मेरे पास सही जवाब होता ना, तो मैं एक बहुत बड़ी जहाज में हवाई में बैठा होता समुद्र किनारे और वहां से प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहा होता। तो इसका सही जवाब तो मेरे पास है नहीं।
कुछ स्पेसिफिक
देखो ऐसा वैल्यूएशन जो है ना उस पे मैं लास्ट में आता हूँ टिपिकली, चाहे वो पी मल्टीपल है, ईवी एबिटा है, जो भी है। मेरा पहला फिल्टर एज आई सेड इज इंडस्ट्री स्ट्रक्चर, जो मैंने पिछले प्रेजेंटेशन में कई बार बात किया हुआ है कि इफ यू गिव मी अ कंपनी लाइक गूगल, राइट, सर्च में मोनोपोली है, हाई कैश फ्लो है, हाई आरओई है, 20 साल से मिनिमम 20% ग्रो कर रही है। अगर आप मुझे ऐसी कंपनी दे देंगे ना तो ये मैं 40-50 टाइम अर्निंग्स भी खरीद लूंगा, क्योंकि 2 या 3 साल में वो मल्टीपल 20 हो जाता है। इफ यू गिव मी अ मोनोपोली कंपनी इन अ कंसोलिडेटेड इंडस्ट्री स्ट्रक्चर विथ प्राइसिंग पावर, 40-50 मल्टीपल भी सस्ता है, ठीक है। सेम टाइम आप मुझे ऐसी इंडस्ट्री, अब रेस्टोरेंट, मेरी एक यहां अरब स्ट्रीट है सिंगापुर में, फेमस स्ट्रीट है, सब शनिवार को वहीं खाना खाने पहुंच जाते हैं, 1000 रेस्टोरेंट। तो अगर अरब स्ट्रीट ही एक शेयर बाजार होता, मैं कुछ भी नहीं खरीदता। क्यों? कि कभी किसी का माल बिकेगा, कभी किसी का माल बिकेगा, प्राइसिंग पावर है नहीं। अगर एक इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट की मटर पनीर $5 की है तो दूसरे की 4.5 या 5.5 ही कर सकता है, बिकॉज सेम विसिनिटी में है। एज सून एज समवन प्राइसेस दिस प्रोडक्ट एट $10, उसके यहां जाएंगे नहीं, सिमिलर है। सो अगर प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंशिएशन नहीं है, सिमिलर कंपनीज हैं, then even सस्ता valuation is not good enough. But if I have to filter, I will give you 2 filters. If you're buying a financial, अगर बैंक आप खरीद रहे हैं 1.7 रिटर्न ऑन एसेट के नीचे ना खरीदें। अगर आप एनबीएफसी खरीद रहे हैं 2% रिटर्न ऑन एसेट के नीचे ना खरीदें। ये अगर मिल जाता है और 5-6 साल का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है तो 1.5 से 2 टाइम प्राइस टू बुक सस्ता है, 4 के ऊपर महंगा है। तो मैं क्या है ना, प्रिंसिपल्स लगा के रखता हूं कि ये छोटी छन्नी है, ये बड़ी छन्नी है, इन दोनों के बीच में जो आएगा रखेंगे, इसके ऊपर बाहर, इसके नीचे बाहर, सिंपल। बिकॉज की वैल्यूएशन में क्या है ना, कोई राइट आंसर नहीं है, मेरे पास नहीं है। क्या 70 सस्ता है कि 10 सस्ता है, मुझे नहीं मालूम। तो मैंने वो फ्रेमवर्क बना लिया है कि मेरे लिए अच्छी कंपनी कौन सी है, 25 का रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल है। अब मैंने आपको 2 कंपनी दी, दोनों का 25 रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल, आप किसको पकड़ोगे? अगर ब्रांड कंपनी है और एक स्टील की कंपनी है, मैं ब्रांड को लूंगा। दोनों ब्रांड है तो जो प्रोडक्ट मैं रोज यूज करता हूं, जैसे मंजन में रोज करता हूं, बाइक में 10 साल में एक बार खरीदता हूं, तो मैं मंजन वाली को लूंगा। एक फिल्टर 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 करके फिर एक अमृत आता है। ये मंथन करना होता है, मंथन से ही विष निकला था, मंथन से ही अमृत निकला था, मंथन मंथन लगा रहता।
तो सर आपने एक और स्लाइड दिखाया था कंपेयरिंग द पीएसयू बैंक्स एंड द प्राइवेट बैंक्स का वैल्यूएशन।
यस।
सो नाउ सिंस दे आर ऑलमोस्ट नियरिंग ईच अदर, so going forward can we actually expect that the PSU banks start outperforming and the private banks start underperforming?
देखो, now I'll have to go to a little more details. अब मैं टॉप डाउन बात नहीं कर पाऊंगा। अब इंडिया में दिक्कत क्या हो रही है समझो, डिपॉजिट्स बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है बैंक्स को लेने में। पुराने जमाने में हम क्या करते थे ना, डिपॉजिट रख देते थे, कोई शेयर बाजार में पैसा नहीं डालता था, एफडी कर देते थे। अभी क्या हो रहा है कि बहुत लोग इंटेलिजेंट हो गए हैं, बहुत सारे वेल्थ मैनेजर्स आ गए हैं, हर इंसान को जाके बोलता है सर क्यों आप बैंक में रखे हो, आप आर्बिट्राज फंड में डाल दो, आप डेट म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दो। तो इससे क्या होता है ना, बैंक का डिपॉजिट बेस कम हो जाता है, ठीक है। अब डिपॉजिट बेस अगर कम हो जाता है, आपकी कॉस्ट ऑफ फंडिंग बढ़ जाती है, आपको ज्यादा देना पड़ेगा कस्टमर को डिपॉजिट रखने के लिए, कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड बढ़ जाएगा। और अगर आप लोन देने का दाम नहीं बढ़ा सकते तो आपकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी कम हो जाएगी। सो अगले 3 से 4 साल आप ऐसे ना देखें कि ये पीएसयू बैंक है या प्राइवेट बैंक है, वैसे मत देखो। किसकी डिपॉजिट फ्रेंचाइज ज्यादा बेहतर है उस पे काम करिए। जिसका कॉस्ट ऑफ फंडिंग कम है और रिटर्न ऑन एसेट अच्छा है और रिटेल लोन है, उसकी तरफ जाइए। पीएसयू भी हो सकता है, प्राइवेट भी हो सकता है, एनबीएफसी भी हो सकता है। तो हर चीज को वो पीएसयू प्राइवेट लेन से नहीं चलेगा। मुझे लग रहा है अगले 3 से 5 साल डिपॉजिट फ्रेंचाइजेस बहुत अच्छा करेंगी ऑब्वियसली हाई रिटर्न ऑन एसेट बहुत अच्छा करेंगे, तो मैं सिर्फ वो पीएसयू और वो वाला फिल्टर अभी नहीं लगाऊं।
Got it. I think it makes sense, definitely. So there's another question, quite an interesting one by Mr. Rakesh, that how do we identify these so-called chore companies, which like any specific red flags which one should look out for, so that you know it's easier कि वो filter से हटा दिया तुरंत।
यार देखो, एक तो है कि मजाक में मैंने एक बार विवेक की वीडियो में कहा था ना, अगर बतख की तरह चलता है, बतख की तरह बोलता है, तो बतख है, हंस नहीं है। सो चोर कंपनी सबसे पहला है कि हर कंपनी की एक कंपैरेटिव एनालिसिस होती है, ठीक है। अगर सारी कंपनियां एक सेक्टर में 25% रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल बना रही है, सबका रिसीवेबल 60 दिन है, एक कंपनी का 180 दिन है, रेड फ्लैग। सिर्फ फाइनेंशियल में कुछ ना कुछ दिखेगा हमेशा, मैं कहता हूं कुछ ना कुछ दिखेगा जो कॉमन सेंस होता है। सबसे पहले फाइनेंशियल्स देखिए और वो चीज देखिए जो अलग दिख रही है, राइट। जैसे एग्जांपल वो जो एक मैंने, आई डोंट नो आपको याद है कि नहीं, थाईलैंड वाली कंपनी की जो बताई थी, ट्रू स्टोरी है। हम गए थाईलैंड, नाइका जैसी कंपनी है, 25 रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल, 70% ग्रॉस मार्जिन, 30% नेट मार्जिन, कमाल की कंपनी थी, माशाल्लाह, एकदम बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट, राइट। एवरीथिंग ऑन पेपर ऑफ दैट कंपनी वाज ब्यूटीफुल। लेकिन मुझे एक ही चीज खटकी थी, जब 2 बात का शेयर प्राइस था, प्रोमोटर की शेयर होल्डिंग 71% थी, इट वाज 71%। When the stock went from 2 to 70, 35 bagger over 7 years, he sold 50% of his stock. 71 became 18. I have seen the best brands of the world, Asian Paint, Hero Motors, you take it. कोई promoter शेयर नहीं बेचता अच्छे धंधे का। तो हमें लगा कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, right? If you remember that story. नंबर्स अगर तुम एनालाइज करती ना, एनुअल रिपोर्ट पढ़ती, सब कुछ अच्छा लगता। तो हमने क्या किया, हम सारे एनालिस्ट से मिल लिए, सबने बहुत अच्छी गुणगान गाई। हम खुद स्टोर गए, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, फ्राइडे, बैंकॉक में मैं जिस होटल में ठहरा तो वहां 3 स्टोर हैं। इरावन होटल के बगल में पहली मॉल थी, सबसे बड़ा स्टोर। मैं और मेरे 2 एनालिस्ट थे, हम एक स्टोर गए। रात को 7:55 PM, वेडनेसडे 7:55 PM, 8 बजे स्टोर बंद होता है। थर्सडे 7:55, फ्राइडे 7:55। पॉस मशीन तो वही है, पीओएस मशीन, रिसीट नंबर आ गया, वेडनेसडे आया, थर्सडे आया, फ्राइडे आया। मुझे मोटा मोटी समझ में आ गया कि दिन में कितने कस्टमर आते हैं जी। फिर आप स्टाफ से थोड़ा बहुत बात करोगे, पर कस्टमर सेल पता चलती है। तो अब हमें पता चला यार, ये जो नंबर दिखा रहा है, एक्चुअल नंबर से तो सिर्फ 20 से 30% था। अब वो क्या कर रहा था, आपकी 100 रुपए की सेल है और आपका लिस्ट से 70-80% ग्रॉस मार्जिन है। मेरा तो 20 रुपया लग रहा है खरीदने के लिए मेरा ही माल, लेकिन मेरे 20 रुपए के माल खरीदने से मेरा पी मल्टीपल 50 है, तो मेरा शेयर प्राइस 1000 रुपया बढ़ता है। तो 1000 रुपए की शेयर प्राइस बढ़ाने के लिए 20 रुपए का माल खरीदना है, 50 रुपए का शेयर बेचूंगा, माल खरीदते रहूंगा। समझ रहे हो बदमाशी? सो इफ यू हैव टू फाइंड फ्रॉड कंपनीज, जस्ट गो थ्रू द बेसिक नंबर। मैं एक और एग्जांपल देता हूं, कंपनी का नाम नहीं लूंगा। ये है आईटी सर्विसेज की कंपनी थी। तब इन्फोसिस के पास 1 लाख एम्प्लॉय थे, इस कंपनी के पास शायद 700 एम्प्लॉयज। 1 लाख वर्सेस 700। इन्फोसिस computers, the computer per employee cost was 1 lakh. This company computer employee was 35 lakhs. Right? या तो आप एकदम टॉप एंड R&D कर रहे हो, सुपर कंप्यूटर बना रहे हो, कुछ एआई कर रहे हो। 15 साल पहले तो एआई था ही नहीं, कुछ तो गड़बड़ थी। So you have to go always, just go through common sense, basics। कुछ ना कुछ आपको खटकेगा, और जो खटकता है आमतौर पे मैं कह रहा हूं सच होता है। There is no single formula to find all chores। पर यार वो फॉर्मूला होता तो चोर आते ही नहीं ना।
Right, sir।
चोर भी तो शाणे होते हैं। They also learn new things, they will also come back।
Right, sir। Interesting. I think simple things give you the red flags, simple things give you the green flags, of course. So it's just that sujag raho.
If you keep really simple filters, don't overthink, don't overanalyze, और किसी भी कंपनी को एनालाइज करने के लिए अगर कोई पीएचडी चाहिए ना, वो कंपनी से तो मैं एकदम दूर भागता हूं। सच बोल रहा हूं, ज्यादा दिमाग जहां जगाना पड़ता है ना, आज एक तो दिमाग भी मंदबुद्धि हो गया, समझ रही हो, तो दिमाग ही नहीं एनालाइज कहां से करूं। कीप इट सिंपल एज पॉसिबल। किताबें अच्छी पढ़ो, जैसे एग्जांपल अभी देखो नीलकंठ के वीडियो में, मुझे नहीं पता था इतनी बढ़िया किताब है। नीलकंठ ने अपने वीडियो बोला जय आईटी हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया, व्हाट अ बुक, इट इज अ मस्ट रीड इफ एनीवन वांट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड इंडियन आईटी सर्विसेज। इसमें एक जैसे एक चैप्टर है, टीसीएस ने जो पहला कंप्यूटर मंगाया था हाई एंड, बैलगाड़ी में आया था। लुक एट द कॉन्ट्रास्ट, a high-end computer coming in a bullock cart. It is, some of the anecdotes of this is so beautiful. It is a must read. We have to respect our heroes, and this is that book. Please आप लोग पढ़िए ये किताब, बहुत बढ़िया किताब है। Indian IT services सब पढ़नी है। Against all odds, the IT story of India. I can suggest many books, but this is a must read.
Right, sir. We'll post it on Stock and Social also, so that the users can refer it later and get to them. So another question by one of our users is that when we talk about the Mahesh Waves, and if we identify that the stock is in the Mahesh Waves, does that mean that we need to really get out totally out of that stock?
Okay, so Mahesh is two types. One is the business cycle Mahesh, कि धंधा ही मैच्योर हो गया, इंडस्ट्री स्ट्रक्चर चेंज हो रहा है। दूसरा महेश होता है वैल्यूएशन का महेश। यार अब अगर कोई 150 पी पे पहुंच गया है और मैच्योर हो गया है, क्या बचा है? सी इफ यू बिलीव इन साइकिल्स, अगर तुम ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश में विश्वास करते हो कि हर कुछ सिक्लिकल है, आज ये अगर एम्बेसडर है, राइट, क्या है? बचपन में तो हमारा वर्चस्व था ना, यही थी।
यस सर।
टेक्निकली ये भी तो 100 पी पे ट्रेड कर रही होगी उस जमाने में, मोनोपोली प्रॉफिट है। आज कहां है, राइट? अगर पूरा बाजार ही महेश हो गया है, तब सब बेच बाज के बॉन्ड खरीदो। ऐसा तो होता नहीं है कि पूरा बाजार महेश हो जाएगा, कुछ अच्छा कुछ बुरा रहता है। सो इफ अगर आपके you have 25 stocks in a portfolio and one is reaching mahesh in business cycle but valuation still cheap, you can keep it. But once it becomes great, which is mature business at a mature price,
then it's a sell.
See, discipline बहुत जरूरी है, I'm telling you. और एक और चीज मैं बता देता हूं, शेयर सिर्फ चढ़ते हुए बिकते हैं।
Yes, sir.
Ideally, what we do is then we get scared, गिर रहा है, फिर जबरदस्ती बेचना पड़ता है।
Right.
Living with that psychology, let me share one thing very interesting with you. एक चार्ट तुम्हें दिखाता हूं, I'll share. See, the biggest dilemma in working in share markets is this. Let us assume, okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
चैलेंज है ये शेयर बाजार का, okay? So let us assume, how do I move? Just a sec. Yeah. Let us assume there are 5,000 stocks in the market. Your portfolio will have 25 only. ठीक है? X axis है आपने क्या खरीदा
जी,
नो एंड यस, और खरीदने के बाद शेयर ऊपर गया है नीचे गया। 5,000 शेयर है जो आपने नहीं खरीदे हैं, 25 शेयर है जो आपने खरीदे हैं। जो 1000 नीचे गिरे उसमें आपको खुशी होती है, जो 4,000 आपने नहीं खरीदे वो जो ऊपर गए वो भी आपको टेंशन देते हैं। तो ये जो 20 जो आपने खरीदे हैं इनको ढूंढना इज नॉट इनफ। सेकेंड थिंग इज हाउ डू यू साइज देम, कितना बड़ा।
Yes, sir.
And third is how long you ride them, कितनी देर तक आपने रखा।
I think that's another question.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I just digressed, but I hope it answers some questions that people may have later.
Yes, sir. So how much should we ride them then? कितने दिन इसको रख?
भैया कितने दिन क्या, वो जो मैंने बना दिया है ना, जब तक G2G के नीचे है रखो, ऊपर जा रहा है बेचो, जो यहाँ है वहां लेते रहो, वो खेलना है बस। और जब सब कुछ ऊपर चला जाए, बेच बात के घर पे रहो, बच्चों के साथ खेलो, किताबें पढ़ो, पेंटिंग बनाओ, जैसे मैंने बनाई थी जब मैं गुस्सा था।
Right, sir. Yes, sir. So we've been getting a lot of questions on the defense sector with a
Yes.
very high PE and prices going up. So how do we analyze these kind of sectors? What kind of take can we take there on them?
या
And
सीधा है, जहां बहुत सिंपल फिल्टर लगाओ, जो सब कुछ महंगा है, अगर दो कंपनियां हैं, लेट्स से दोनों ही 75 मल्टीपल पे, लेकिन एक ने पिछले 10 साल पैसे बनाए हैं, एक ने आज तक पैसे नहीं बनाए और कह रहा है अगले साल पैसे बनाएगा। और ऐसी बहुत कंपनियां बाजार में, आपको बता सकता हूं। पहले उसके पास जाओ जिसने पैसा बनाया हुआ है। अगर मुझे विराट कोहली 30 मल्टीपल पे मिल रहा है और एक नुक्कड़ का क्रिकेटर आके 30 मल्टीपल पे मिल रहा है, मैं विराट लूंगा।
विराट कोहली, यस।
तो उसमें भी आप छन्नियां लगाए ना अपनी, पुट योर ओन फिल्टर्स। देयर आर 20 डिफेंस कंपनीज, one company has had a track record। अगर let's, okay, this is not a stock recommendation, I am just using names as example, ठीक है?
Yes sir, yes sir।
HAL है, हिंदुस्तान एरोनॉटिक्स, right?
Right sir।
Historically it's a monopoly in at least हवाई जहाज हेलीकॉप्टर बनाने में। पहले उनको
Right,
ऑर्डर्स
sir।
मिल नहीं रहे थे, अब मिल रहे हैं। It is known for 20-30 years। At the same time एक कोई let's say कोई फोर्जिंग कंपनी आ गई, कह रही यार मेरे को तो अब मिसाइल का ऑर्डर आने वाला है फोर्जिंग का, या 6 महीने ऑर्डर आ जाए, पैसे सरकार से रिसीवेबल आ जाए तो ले लेना। विविध में दिक्कत क्या होता है कि ऑर्डर आ जाते हैं, एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं होता, एग्जीक्यूशन हो जाता है, पैसे नहीं आते, बहुत लफड़े होते हैं। सो जिसने एग्जीक्यूट कर रखा है, जिसका रीजनेबल मल्टीपल है, उसको ले लो। विराट कोहली मिले तो विराट को ले लो, गड़ी के नुक्कड़ के क्रिकेटर को मत लो। फिल्टर लगाओ।
Experience is what it is। Yes sir। So another question is on the management of companies.
Yes।
Like simple things, simple green flags and red flags around the management that we can put to understand key management, because everybody doesn't have the access to go and meet the management. And
just give me 1 sec। Yeah, who's
yes
this?
sir।
Come later, sorry, someone's knocking। अभी नहीं, बंद रखना, बंद कर देना गेट। Sorry, that's my lunch। Sorry, yeah, sorry, management। Okay,
management।
So see, same filters apply everywhere। I prefer companies which are management owned,
right,
good track record of return on capital, low receivables, no share sale all the time, dividends, and good
right,
communication। See, you don't have to meet the management all the time। Does the management give you bad news first in a conference call? Conference call के ट्रांसक्रिप्ट तो आजकल सबको, मैं सही कह रहा हूँ, retail investor have as much access today as I have।
right।
I have 20 years back आप कह सकते थे यार नहीं अजय सर आपको ज्यादा एक्सेस है, आप कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉल सुन लेते हो, आपके पास ब्लूमबर्ग में डेटा है। टुडे स्टॉक एज इज रिच विद डेटा। आज मैं आधा टाइम तो ये ब्लूमबर्ग में भी नहीं चाहता हूं। जो विवेक और विनीत और विनय ने जो बनाया है, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस बिकॉज वो मेरे दोस्त हैं या मैं उनका मेंटर हूं, नो, इट्स जेन्युइनली एन अमेजिंग डेटाबेस।
We do have all the
कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉल आ
calls।
जाता है, डिटेल्स आ जाती है, इन्वेस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन आ जाता है, राइट?
Yes,
सो यू हैव एक्सेस टू ऑल द डेटा एंड इंफॉर्मेशन। एंड देन लुक एट मैनेजमेंट दैट हैव डिलीवर्ड इन द पास्ट। कई बार क्या होता है कि देयर आर कंपनीज या मैनेजमेंट जेल गया हुआ है, वो नए रूप में आते हैं, नए नाम में आते हैं, नया कुछ करते हैं, ठीक है? I'm privy to a lot of things, I will not, right? So और अगर कहीं भी डाउट लगे ना, मैं सीरियसली कहता हूं, when in doubt avoid। या आप एकदम गांठ बांध लीजिए इस बात की, जहां हल्का सा भी शक हो,
right sir,
क्यों खरीदना है? 5000 कंपनियां हैं खरीदने के लिए, you get it?
Right, sir.
When in doubt, just say no. Easiest thing. अमिताभ बच्चन ने कहा था ना, no is a sentence in itself. No means no. जहां डाउट हो ना, करना ही नहीं है भैया. युधिष्ठिर.
Right, sir. I think that's good. So, users को थोड़ा सा ब्रह्मा, विष्णु, महेश में stocks कैसे identify? I think we covered in our last session also. थोड़ा सा, there are a lot of new joinees today, and they want to know कि how to actually filter stocks and
So,
identify.
okay, I'll give you one sector to understand what is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. I can't
Yes.
talk every sector, okay? Let's take
Right.
motorcycles.
Right.
Motorcycles as an industry is Mahesh, right? We used to sell 20 years back. Hero Motors used to trade at 10 times earnings, 8% dividend yield. We used to sell 5 lakh bikes a year or 10 lakh bikes a year. Penetration of bikes was 10%. Maximum bike penetration किसी भी देश में, आप थाईलैंड, फिलीपींस, जापान, जो भी हाई बाइक पेनिट्रेशन कंट्रीज है, 45% होता है. उससे भी एक्चुअली कम होता है हाउस होल्ड, बिकॉज टिपिकली अ मेल विल बाय अ बाइक. सिटीज में पीपल डोंट बाय बाइक्स, वॉट एवर द नंबर इज. सो नंबर ऑफ हाउस होल्ड से आप वो करोगे तो वी वर सेलिंग अबाउट 1.7 1.8 करोड़ बाइक्स अ ईयर. सो बाइक एज अ मार्केट मैच्योर हो गया.
राइट.
पेनिट्रेशन में मोटरसाइकिल्स महेश पे पहुंच गई. तो जो नॉर्मल बाइक्स हैं, जो एंट्री लेवल बाइक है, वो सबके पास पहुंच गई. सेकेंड हैंड बाइक भी है, थर्ड हैंड बाइक भी है. तो जिसको बाइक की जरूरत है, बिकॉज मोटर, सी व्हाई डू यू नीड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. ऑफिस कैसे जाऊं, गांव में है तो दूध लेने कैसे जाऊं, ठीक है, बाइक की जरूरत है. एक बार पेनिट्रेशन पूरा हो जाता है तो नॉर्मल बाइक इज एट महेश, प्रीमियम बाइक इज एट विष्णु. तो इनफील्ड बिकने लग गई कि मेरे भांजे को अब स्प्लेंडर नहीं चाहिए 100 सीसी. जिस दिन नौकरी लगती है, पहले वो 1.25 लाख वाली थंडरबर्ड खरीद के लाता है इनफील्ड. उसको शो ऑफ करना है और चलाएगा वीक में 3 घंटे, चलाना भी नहीं है. सो देन प्रीमियम इज अर्ली, मैच्योर इज एंट्री लेवल. अब
Right.
नया चेंज क्या आ गया इंडिया में? इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक्स विच आर चीपर. सो नाउ ईवी इज अर्ली स्टेज, ईवी इज ब्रह्मा. इतने सारे प्लेयर हैं, कौन चलेगा नहीं चलेगा नहीं मालूम, इसलिए मैं ईवी पे अभी बैट नहीं करूंगा. सो दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू थिंक. एक ही इंडस्ट्री में, लाइक कार्स हमारे यहाँ अर्ली स्टेज है, अमेरिका में मैच्योर है, सबके पास गाड़ी है. तो अमेरिका में गाड़ी नहीं खरीदूंगा, यहाँ खरीदूंगा. सो यू हैव टू लुक एट दैट कि फिर आप खुद देखो ना आप क्या खरीद रहे हो. What are the new products you are buying, your wife is buying, or your girlfriend's buying, your boyfriend's buying, your kids are buying? क्या नया खरीद रहे हैं, क्या नए ब्रांड्स खरीद रहे हैं, क्या नई कैटेगरी है. पहले डिओड्रेंट कैटेगरी नहीं थी, एक्स के एड्स आते थे. अब ये डिओड्रेंट मैच्योर हो गया, परफ्यूम आ रहा है, परफ्यूम हो गया, हाई एंड बैग्स आ रहे हैं, सब कुछ नया होते रहता है. फेस क्रीम्स आ रही हैं. So that is how you would look at Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Purely penetration.
Penetration.
Penetration, industry penetration is a good proxy for Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
Interesting. And as you said, sir, earlier, that suppose EV has got so many stocks, we can just do a comparative study on all of them and figure out which one we would want to avoid, and then filter out the stocks which could be.
Absolutely.
So, does the order book also play a very important role in when we are filtering stocks?
Yes and no. So, अगर NTPC BHEL को ऑर्डर दे रहा है, वो ऑर्डर असली है.
Okay.
एक छोटी सी कंपनी बोल रही है कि उसको जर्मनी की फलानी कंपनी से 5,000 करोड़ का ऑर्डर आया है, वो नकली है. वो जर्मन कंपनी का सिर्फ एक वेब पेज बना रखा होगा, उसी कंपनी ने बनाया होगा. सो अगेन, कौन किसकी ऑर्डर बुक है? विराट कोहली की ऑर्डर बुक है, नुक्कड़ वाले उसकी ऑर्डर बुक है. सी, फॉर एनीथिंग विच इज केपेक्स ड्रिवन, जो कैपिटल साइकिल की हम बात कर रहे हैं, ऑर्डर बुक बहुत जरूरी है. कि अगर मैं एक साल में 1000 करोड़ का ऑर्डर कंप्लीट कर सकता हूं और मुझे 5000 करोड़ का ऑर्डर है, तो मेरे 5 साल की ऑर्डर बुक है, तो मुझे 5 साल का रनवे है. तो जरूरी है ऑर्डर बुक पता होना. बट क्वालिटी ऑफ ऑर्डर बुक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि किसका ऑर्डर है. वो वेरीफाई करना बहुत जरूरी है, पहला। दूसरा, रिसीवेबल साइकिल क्या होती है ऑर्डर में, क्यों इतनी सारी कंपनियां, कंस्ट्रक्शन वाली कंपनियां, ठेकेदारी की कंपनियां पिछले साइकिल में बैंकरप्ट हो गई? ओवरबिड कर दिया, पैसा ही नहीं आया ऑर्डर का, सड़क तो मैंने बना दी। So quality of the customer, quality of order book and payment terms. और पैसा ही नहीं आएगा, नहीं होगा, तो तीनों मैटर करता है। सिर्फ ऑर्डर बुक देखोगे आप तो पैसा खोगे।
So that was quite an insight, because we always have this thought process कि order book अच्छा है तो we can actually consider. So definitely
मैं बता रहा हूं ना यार, मेरा अभी सड़कें बनवाने वाला हूं मैं कल से, मेरी 22,000 करोड़ की ऑर्डर बुक, मेरी कंपनी नहीं बनी है लेकिन अभी तक, ये याद रखना। लेकिन मेरे ऑर्डर 22,000 करोड़ के, इन्वेस्ट करोगी मेरी कंपनी में?
Got your point, sir.
तुमको एकदम डिस्काउंट में दूंगा, सिर्फ 5,000 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन में डाल दो 50-60 लाख रुपए, एकदम डिस्काउंट में दूंगा।
Right. So another question with leverage, that should users use leverage in investing, if at all?
अमिताभ बच्चन ने कहा था, नो इज अ सेंटेंस इन इटसेल्फ। वापस बोलूं कि समझ में आ गया?
समझ में आ गया सर। A no means a no.
Never.
Yeah. So another question by Mr. Prabhu: scope of digital meter and demand in India.
Digital meters for what?
I think he mentioned. He means, I guess,
in transmission lines at homes. कौन सा डिजिटल मीटर? हर जगह लग रहा है, पानी की पाइप में भी लग रहा है, इलेक्ट्रिक पाइप में लग रहा है, ट्रांसमिशन में लग रहा है, ट्रांसफर स्टेप डाउन में लग रहा है, घर में लग रहा है। The fact that I'm saying it's needed, obviously it's a high demand, but digital meter is a commodity product. I don't know what kind of meters you're talking about. Demand hai, it's a large demand product, no doubt. But then you have to see where and who, because the digital meter is, I don't know, I think it's a commodity product, but
I think we can again go back to the main sector and go to the basics again, even if it is digital meter, and then probably come to a conclusion.
See, अगर कोई एज है, कोई पेटेंटेड कोई टेक्नोलॉजी है डिजिटल मीटर में, प्राइसिंग पावर, सी सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है प्राइसिंग पावर। क्या मैं अपने कॉम्पिटिटर से 2 रुपए ज्यादा में बेच सकता हूँ और ज्यादा पैसा बना सकता हूँ, वही मैटर करता है।
Right, sir. So by Mr. Dipen Dedia, which is the new sector for India which we can expect to grow fast in the next 5 to 10 years? The few Brahma sectors of India.
I still think financials, it's 30-35% of index. Financial, wealth management, asset management are sectors that will grow for not just 5 years, 10-20 years, because credit penetration कम है, financialization कम है, तो वो sectors definitely grow करेंगे, ठीक है? Anything which is premium, जो भी चीजें आप महंगी खरीदना शुरू कर दिए हो, पहले कमोडिटी जूते खरीदते थे, आप ब्रांडेड खरीद रहे हो, ब्रांडेड में भी आप वो खरीद रहे हो, so premiumization and financial services are structurally growth sectors for, I would say, at least 8 से 10 साल पहला। I think capital cycle बहुत early stage है, so manufacturing related जो अच्छी कंपनियां हैं जहां रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल देख लीजिएगा, बिकॉज सभी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हैं, जहां मार्जिन है थोड़ा सा, जैसे आप रेलवेज देखेंगे, वैगन्स भी बन रहे हैं, वंदे भारत भी बन रही हैं, लेकिन वहां भी जो फॉर एग्जांपल व्हील सिस्टम्स बना रही है कंपनी, वो बेहतर है नहीं तो जो सिर्फ वैगन का डब्बा बना रही है। आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू हाइपोथेसिस।
यस सर।
तो कंप्लीटली अर्ली स्टेज में से प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट्स हैं इंडिया जो एकदम नया है, बट फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट्स आई वुड से इज एट दैट ब्रह्मा स्टेज, फिर आपको 8-10-20 साल तक आपको आराम से रनवे है ग्रोथ का, कोई टेंशन नहीं।
It's the patience which one needs.
यार पेशेंस ही तो नहीं है, पेशेंस हो तो टेंशन ही खत्म हो जाती है जिंदगी में।
राइट।
सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत ही पेशेंस की है।
तो फंडामेंटल इन्वेस्टिंग में कहीं पे भी आप चार्ट्स को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं? डू यू गिव चार्ट्स एनीवेयर इम्पोर्टेंस इन योर इंटायर स्ट्रक्चर? We've got few questions around this.
जी मैं हाँ I'll tell you. सो मैंने बहुत लोगों से काम किया है जो चार्ट्स भी देखते हैं मोमेंट, राइट? Charts are important if I can act on the chart before everyone else. Very simple. So पहले मैं CLA से ही कहानी सुनाता हूँ। 20 साल 25 साल पहले जब मैं करियर शुरू किया था, हमारे कंपनी में 500 एनालिस्ट थे फंडामेंटल। एक चार्टिस्ट था, लॉरेंस ब्लांको उसका नाम था, ठीक है। फिर मैं जापान के हेज फंड में काम किया। मेरे बॉस गजब, ही इज प्रॉब्लम वन ऑफ द बेस्ट ट्रेडर्स जिनके साथ मैंने काम किया। तो मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूं एक ट्रेड का। नहीं एक्चुअली I've named him so I can't tell you much. मोटा मोटी ऐसे आप समझो कि एक आई रिमेम्बर राकेश जी ने एक बार कहा था कि लोग चार्ट देखते हैं, हम चार्ट बनाते हैं।
Got a point, sir.
अब मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूं। लेट अस अज्यूम मुझे चार्ट समझ में आता है। और एक एग्जांपल दिया था कबूतर वाले वीडियो में हैमर पैटर्न का, कि जब हैमर पैटर्न फॉर्म होती है इट इज टिपिकली अ टर्न, कि जितनी हैमर पैटर्न क्या है, डे के लो में खुला, लो हिट किया बट हाई पे बंद हुआ, यानी जिसको बेचना है बेच बाज के निकल गए, आप मोमेंटम बनेगा, करेक्ट। अब लेट अस अज्यूम एक शेयर दिन में 20,000 शेयर ट्रेड होते हैं, गिर रहा है गिर रहा है गिर रहा है, 20,000 शेयर ट्रेड होने वाले हैं। 100 रुपए में खुला, 20,000 शेयर बेचा, 80 रुपया बॉटम। अगर मैं 20-25 हजार शेयर उस दिन खरीद लूंगा, डे के हाई पे क्लोज होगा, वॉल्यूम तो क्लियर हो गई,
जी सर,
हैमर बन जाएगी।
राइट सर।
अगर हैमर बन गई और 2 दिन मैंने मोमेंटम बना दिया, लोगों को रहेगा घूम गया है, समझ गए आप? तो इसमें पैसा कौन बनाएगा? जो हैमर बनते हुए देख रहा है, जो एग्जीक्यूट करता है ट्रेड सबसे पहले। फिर आएगा वो कंप्यूटर से हैमर बन गया, कंप्यूटर ने पहले बटन दबा दिया। फिर आएगा मेरे जैसा बेवकूफ, हैमर बन गई, एकदम मैं निश्चिंत हो गया, ये तो टर्न हो गया, फिर अजय शर्मा ऐसा बेवकूफ आएगा खरीदने। So it's not that I don't understand charts. Unless I am the fastest fingers first of KBC in hammer, I will not make money.
Got your point,
चार्ट का
sir.
प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, आप समझ भी लेंगे, पहला है समझना और दूसरा है तेजी से खत्म भी करना उस ट्रेड को। दोनों में अगर आप सक्षम हैं तब आप चार्टिस्ट होके पैसा बनाएंगे। मैं नहीं हूं। फंडामेंटल क्या है, मुझे समय देता है, मुझे कोई जल्दी नहीं है फास्टेस्ट फिंगर्स की। अगर आपकी अंगुलियां भी तेज है, दिमाग भी तेज, तो करिए। मेरा दिमाग भी मंदी है और मेरी अंगुलियां तो एकदम ही स्लो है। तो मेरे इंसान जो स्लो दिमाग और स्लो अंगुलियां है, उसको यही करना चाहिए। अगर आपका दिमाग तेज है, अंगुली तेज है, तो आप चार्ट खेलिए, मेरे से ना होगा। आई होप दैट आंसर्स योर क्वेश्चन।
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I understand charts, but I'm not fast in mind and fingers.
Right, sir. So as you said, financials and financial sector, somebody who is not really having that insight of actually analyzing the financial sector and going into the depth, is it a good option to just get into the financial ETFs for them into investing?
See, I'll tell you, first principle is see the ETF. Sasta ETF is the best play for anyone to beat markets.
Right, sir.
Someone like me also, I'm telling you, index को outperform करना नानी याद आ जाती है। तो अगर आप नए हैं, आप तो सीधा ETF में पैसे डालिए, दिमाग ही मत लगाइए इधर उधर, और फिर धीरे धीरे सीखिए। अगर मैं नया होऊंगा ना, आप ऐसे इमेजिन करो आसमान में तारे हैं, 5,000 तारे हैं जो 5,000 शेयर है। ETF ने वो 30 जो बेस्ट तारे हैं, जो बेस्ट विराट कोहली इंडिया के बना के आपको दे दिए। आपका पहला काम है उसको समझना, उसी में इन्वेस्ट करना। स्टेप 2 है कि ये 5,000 तारों में कौन से 4,500 है जो मैं नहीं करूंगा। वो है स्टेप 2। क्या नहीं करूंगा? लो रिटर्न ऑन कैपिटल, चोर मैनेजमेंट, सिक्लिकल, मैच्योर एंड सो ऑन। फिर बचा उसमें से फिर धीरे धीरे एक कौन सा करूंगा उसको सीखूंगा, दूसरा करूंगा। 3 से 5 साल लगेगा सीखने में। तब तक ETF करिए और ये सीखिए कि मैं क्या नहीं करूंगा, क्या करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है।
Yes, sir. Amazing insight. I think ये actionable. This is an actionable which everybody can do it right away. उनको simply they can get into ETFs and first thing is कि filter out कि ये red flags है, इनको हमें हटाना है. So I think that's a very good takeaway for all our users. So I think we've covered more or less all questions.
Perfect.
And
बहुत अच्छे.
yes. And so again, thank you so much, Dil se, for sharing such value.
Good to see you. Good to see you all.
Yes,
I hope
sir.
people like और hope to see you guys again. कोई डाउट हो तो वो चैनल ही चले जाना, अजय फाई, वहीं दिख जाएगा कुछ ना कुछ.
Yes, sir. So you all can actually go to YouTube and follow sir's channel, Ajay Fai, and he makes regular fabulous videos, and every video has an insight of their own. So please watch them, and genuinely you will start learning and getting that knowledge slowly. Thank you,
Chalo,
sir.
thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.